How is it going, Kansas City? How is it going, Kansas City? It is April 23rd. It is a wet and rainy Wednesday. My sinus pressure is through the roof. I don't know about you, Jay. Do you have allergies?
No.
Okay. Well,
I do not have a weak immune system.
a weak immune system? Yeah. Hey, you know what? The Lord said, I'm going to give you good looks. I'm going to give you those the athletic body, minus the gut every once in a while. I'm going to give you charm, but I'm going to give you asthma and allergies. You know, he's got to give you a balance. A good head of hair, you know, yeah, but he's going to balance it out.
Oh, I got blessed with everything but your immune system.
But, all right, yeah, it is April 23rd. It's actually my sister's birthday. I think she's
really?
37 today.
Oh.
I don't think I called her today. I didn't call her.
You didn't call me on my birthday.
When was your birthday?
On the 16th.
Of this month?
Yes. I waited.
You waited.
I waited. I had my phone right next to me the entire day going, I know Covell is going to call me on my birthday. And you didn't call.
I live in a house full of women. That sounds like something they would say to me. But I doubt that you were waiting. But, yeah, you never told me it was your birthday.
We're friends on Facebook. You realize that, right?
We became friends on Facebook after your birthday.
No.
I believe so.
Mm-mm.
Well, but to be fair, last year I missed my mama's birthday, man. Like, life be busy.
Oh, you don't do that. You don't miss mama's birthday.
Yeah, but I be missing. I miss my, like, I don't even know what age I'm turning until, you know, somebody confirms it with me. How old are you? I think I'm about 35. Yeah.
48.
48?
Yeah. 48 years old.
Yeah, you got a head start.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, first off, how did you enjoy the hockey game? I want to thank the Kansas City Mavericks for inviting us out for Game 2 of the playoffs. They hooked us up with some pretty good seats. Thank you again. And I enjoyed the game. Of course, you know, I've seen hockey before. How did you like it?
Well, yeah, I had a great time, and I want to thank Lauren Kelly. She is a marketing specialist, I believe, with the I almost said Dallas Mavericks, with the Kansas City Mavericks, and yes, we went with my first hockey game. It was an overtime game, and it was pretty intense, and. You know, how this came about last week on the show, or was it a couple weeks ago?
A couple of weeks.
A couple weeks ago, we were talking, and you would, in this show, you would try to inject hockey. And I'd always be like, nah, I don't see hockey. Never seen hockey. I dismissed it. And Lauren Kelly, who is a listener of Sports Radio 810, I was going to say In the Pocket, but she listens to In the Pocket. She's a fan of Sports Radio 810. She heard it, and she gave me a call, and she said, you've never been? Come check out a game. We checked out a game. She gave us tickets for me, my family. Jay, you brought your family?
Yeah, well, I brought my daughter Veronica.
Yeah, and you brought a friend. Yeah.
Yeah, and my old boss. He was my old program director at the radio station we worked at, and he had never been to a hockey game before too. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, he spent most of the game kind of looking at you like, this is amazing. He really had no idea what was going on, but it was action packed. It was loud. That
it was physical.
Yeah.
And you know, my next game, I want to be down on the window, not the window.
You want to be on the glass?
On the glass. I think it's plastic, but yeah, I want to be down on it.
It's plexiglass. The reason why they don't have glass in there is because
it would shatter.
Yeah,
but but it sounds better to say on the glass than to say on the plastic.
Yeah.
But all right, yeah. But and you know what?
You know what? I think you should do one better.
What's that?
We need you on the ice. We need you in goal. We need you doing all the starfish stuff. Yeah.
What's that?
We need you in goal. We need you on the ice.
I'll do that. It looks like it could be slippery. And you know what? And I'll give another shout out to Lauren Kelly. She found us at halftime, and
There's no halftime. There's an intermission.
I said halftime.
Come on now.
Hey, I'm learning, Jay.
You are.
I am taking steps.
Yes, you are.
I am taking steps.
Yes.
I was out there asking people, so what happened? Why didn't that count? Oh, okay, that's a okay, I can't think of what it's called. Penalty kick?
No.
Not kick. Hey, man, it's baby steps.
I'm being very patient with you right now because normally I'd be standing up with the knife hand and getting at least you're not like my wife. My wife and I have been married for 12 years, and she still calls it, she still says, what quarter are they in? There are only 3 periods in hockey. Okay? It's
well, I consider that 3 quarters, but that's because I am...
3 quarters is 75 cents, okay?
Well, yeah, and if it's overtime, you get 100%. Yeah,
No.
there's the math.
No.
But yeah, during intermission.
Thank you.
During the second intermission, we were able to go onto the ice. We rode in the back of the truck, drove around. Everybody threw the pucks onto the field, and my family had a blast. So yes, I'll say thanks again to the Mavericks, and you have a fan in me and my family now, and I was able to steer everybody away from the what's it called? The merch center, what's it called? Where you buy stuff.
Yeah, the team store.
Team store, yeah. Like we were able to avoid it that day, but we're gonna start having some gear because they.
Oh, that's the first place I went to when I got in there.
That's the first place you went.
Yeah, because I had to have my puck. I had to have my Kansas City Mavericks puck.
Well, when we were in the back of the truck, I was hoping a puck would come and.
Oh, if I'd have known that, I'd have thrown the one that I bought.
But yeah, it was a good time. The Mavericks won in overtime. They are now 2-1 in the playoffs. What was score? 3-2?
Yes.
3-2. And you know what? When I used to see scores of hockey on the bottom of the screen, I'd always say,
why is it so low?
Yeah, 3-2. I'm like, that seems like a lot of nothing going on. But it's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like, no, I got into it. As a matter of fact, the game winning. Is that right?
Yeah, the game-winning goal.
Okay, yeah, all right. The game-winning goal, I stood up with everybody. We stood up with everybody else and was cheering. And, yeah, so, no, it was a good time. We're going to have to do some more Mavericks games.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But, all right, so, yes, today this is a draft preview show. We are 24 hours away from, like, the 80th NFL draft. The first one was, like, 1937. I didn't do the math, Jay. 1937 to now, 37 minus 24.
You're going to ask me to do math?
Well, a long time. The NFL draft has been a tradition that is going on for a long time, since 1937. So if we have any math majors, I guess call in and say it.
I just paid for the calculator app on my phone. And
why didn't your phone come with the calculator?
That's called sarcasm.
Okay, all right. I'm about to say.
Wait, 37?
I'm like saying
88.
88. So I was close.
You were close.
But I was going to say, if you're paying for the calculator app, I have I can't think of I have something
got a bridge to sell you.
Bricks to sell you?
Bridge.
There it is.
I got a bridge to sell you.
Yes,
I got some Beachmart property in Arizona.
Yep. All right. Well, you finished it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
Huh?
We're 24 hours away. And on today's show, we are going to have Matt Derrick on to come talk draft. And I'm sure he's in Green Bay. I've been to Green Bay. I don't know where everybody's going to be completely honest. It's a big little city.
I have a friend who lives in Wisconsin, all right? And she is one of those people that's like, yeah, I live in Wisconsin. Oh, God, this is so great. What's good? Nothing. There's nothing to do in Wisconsin except eat cheese, grill some bratwurst, and cheer on the Pack, even though she's a Cowboys fan. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, we be having some Broncos fans here. It's weirdness.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but, it's like Wisconsin, what do you do? Eat cheese. That's it.
Yeah.
I could be for that because I'm a big cheese fan. But if you think you can put one of those, you think you're gonna put one of those cheese heads on me, you're out your mind.
Well, actually, what was it? 2021. I actually did a show. We did a show in Green Bay, and we actually toured the stadium. I have pictures of it. I'm not proud of the pictures because I had a gut. Like sometimes on the road, you just get chunky. But yeah, Green Bay, good place. But yes, we're gonna have Matt Derrick on from Chiefs Digest, and in the second hour, we're gonna have Matt Darcy on. And I've been watching a lot of
cartoons,
draft. Well, not anymore. I've been watching a lot of draft content. I've been trying to soak in as much draft stuff as possible. My brain hurts with the mock drafts. So what we're mainly going to do today is discuss Brett Veach. Brett Veach is in his 8th year as general manager for the Chiefs. So 4 of those years, he didn't have a first-round draft pick. But he's had 5 first-round draft picks. He had that extra first-round draft pick because of Tyreek Hill. Just put that in there. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to, do a segment. I don't know how it's going to work. We're just winging it here. But it's going to be it's a segment. It's going to be called How Veach Be Doing. And we're going to go through the first, second, and third round, player by player, and discuss, is Veach elite Or have we just been Patrick Mahomes just been dragging this franchise along, kind of like Tom Brady drugged the New England Patriots? That sounded like I just took a shot at Bill Belichick.
Yeah, you did.
But I didn't. It wasn't the point.
It's been a while since we said somebody caught some shrapnel, and you just.
That's true. I've been better on throwing shrapnel, I think. Or maybe we just haven't said it.
No, we just haven't.
All right. But, yes. So today we're going to talk a lot of draft. And, I'm going to try not to ask Matt the same questions he's been being asked, because I'm sure he's being asked the same questions about the draft. So, yeah, we're going to break down Brett Veach, see how he's been doing, and we're going to talk about what do we think the Chiefs need to be picking up.
Before we get into that, though, we got some sad news out of the NFL today.
Oh, no.
Defensive tackle, Hall of Famer, WCW champion, United States heavyweight champion, Steve Mongo McMichael passed away today.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did.
How old was he?
67 years old.
67. That's
Rumor has it he tackled the nurse on the way out. Mongo was a bad dude. Key member of one of the greatest defenses in the NFL. Really fierce competitor. We probably could have used him this year. If we'd have gotten his 85, Chiefs could have used him. Tremendous talent, and he passed away today from 67. Complications from ALS, or since you have no idea what that is, Lou Gehrig's disease.
ALS. That's the. Remember they were doing the water challenge.
Yeah,
a few years ago. So yeah, I'm hip. I know.
Well, I can't pronounce it, so I just call it ALS or Lou Gehrig's because I can pronounce that. So
Lou Gehrig, that's a shoulder.
No,
oh, that's Tommy John. Wow.
No, that's an elbow.
Yeah, completely different. Just forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I am Covell Hudson, by the way, and we have.
I am still getting those spam texts about the fake tolls that I haven't paid in Florida, but my name is Jay Powers, and please do not text me. I'm not paying your damn toll.
You said in Florida?
Yeah, I get those all the time because I have a Florida number, so I get a number from I don't know, the Philippines or out of state or somewhere in
Is there
Canada.
a bounty on you?
And it says you have unpaid. You haven't gotten one of these yet?
No.
You're missing out. It says you have unpaid tolls in the state of Florida, and if you don't pay us, your license is going to be suspended. And it's got a link down there that looks very authentic. And you go, oh wait, why do I have an unpaid toll? So you go on the link to get some information for it, and it says, oh yeah, you owe this much. And if you're a complete moron, you go, oh okay, and then you put it.
Well, they try to get old people.
Yeah,
I don't think I count you as old yet.
Well, they got my wife.
Oh,
they got my wife.
They got your wife.
Yeah, they got her because we had recently been down to Florida, and there's easy pass tolls all over the place, and she doesn't care. She's like, they ain't even give me. Well, she got one of those tolls and figured it was legit because she might have gotten on a toll road down in Florida. They're not exactly marked. And
can I show her some beachfront property that I have for sale?
She's on her guard now. All right, because here's what happened with that. She went and said, "Oh, I just put it on the credit card," and I said, "You might want to change your credit card number because these things are a scam." And she was like, "No, it's so authentic." And we were down in Florida. I was like, "Change your credit card number," and it's a good thing she did because 2 days after she paid her toll, somebody tried to rack up $17,000 at a Home Depot online shopping. So,
they were remodeling the kitchen?
Oh, yeah, they were trying to buy everything. They got none of it. By the way, that sound that you hear in the back, it's raining, and it is raining.
Oh, can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these windows aren't soundproof either.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it is raining here at the 810 studio, so if we go silent, the FCC got us or the power went out.
Right? The FCC loves us.
For the time being.
And Jay, you don't even have to be anywhere near that dump button with me.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we didn't have a show last week, because my wife was out of town.
Oh, okay.
And my son, he's 7 years old. He gets very rambunctious, and this is a late-night program. He is of the age where when he gets tired, he doesn't get quiet and take a nap. No, he gets loud, and he curses a lot. He'll drop an F-bomb. So common sense would be like, oh, just bring him to work with you, Jay. He's been around radio stations before. No, the last thing I needed was him in this studio upset because his iPad died and him dropping F-bombs because I can't reach that far.
And he'd besmirch the show's name.
Oh, he would.
Because
Yes.
I don't think I don't think I've ever had the bin dumpable.
Yeah, the FCC would escort us right out of this building if my son was here. Dada loves you, Chaos. So, anyway.
But, so after this first break, we are going to have Matt Derrick. We're going to have Matt Derrick on, and, yes, we're going to discuss some draft. So I am looking forward to that. And I wish I remembered the restaurant I had Burrito Tacos at. I would have given them a shout out, but I forgot.
They're not a sponsor, but they could be.
They're not a sponsor, but they could be. Yes. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna have Matt Derrick. How about that?
Let's do that.
All right. Once a week. Okay, that's awful. We're back. Sports Radio 810 WHB. You are in the pocket with Covell Hudson, and we have Jay as our producer. But who we have as a guest today is Chiefs Insider Extraordinaire, host of 41 The Mike Chiefs podcast, and Chiefs Digest very own Matt Derrick. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing well, Corvell. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you like that intro? I'm trying to do better.
It was great. I loved it, man.
All right. That's good. Are you down there in Green Bay?
Up there.
No, I'll be covering everything here from Kansas City. So.
Okay, yeah. I don't even know if they have enough room in Green Bay, so I was wondering how they're going to get everybody in there.
I mean, even when the draft was here in Kansas City, I mean, the easiest way to cover the draft for the Chiefs is to be at the facility. For the teams individually, there's nothing that really happens at the draft site. I mean, you don't really get any additional access to the draftees or the players, and for the most part, as soon as they get picked, they're heading to Kansas City, so they're
fair.
not there for very long. So, just as far as when you cover a team, it's covering it from wherever their GM, their coach, and their staff is pretty much the easiest way to cover the draft.
Okay, cool beans. And this has been our first time talking since the day before the debacle.
Yeah.
And how times change very quickly, because I think we were both, rather bullish about the game and felt pretty confident. If anything, you thought it would be one of those close losses, but we ended up getting dog walked, as the young kids say. No, that's an old guy thing.
But we got to take it to the woodshed.
We got to take it to the woodshed. There it is. So, I was like, man, did we jinx something? I don't know if you're superstitious at all, but I was like, I thought I wore the right shirt, man.
Well, as Andy Reid said, it was a bad day to have a bad day, and yes, I remember distinctly talking to you because I was standing outside the Chiefs hotel.
Yeah, and I thought that gave us good juju.
Where the action was and everything, and then seeing some of the players come in the night before and check them back in. And yeah, I was pretty bullish too. I mean, I thought that if I thought it was going to be a rout, I said it. I said if it's a rout, the Chiefs are going to win that game. I just did not see the Eagles winning it in a rout, and unfortunately, they did.
Yeah. So, but it took everybody in Kansas City a while to get past that one, I believe. But now we are to the draft. And I know everybody's been trying to pull every piece of information out of your brain for the last few weeks. Am I right?
Yeah, I may not have any information left. I mean, there may not be anything left in this brain. I'm not sure there was anything in there before the draft process started. But this has been, I tell you what, it's been one of the more unpredictable drafts to prepare for, because I'm not even sure a lot of things that we're hearing make sense. And even when talking to the Chiefs and about who they expect to maybe be there for them late, whether it's at 31 or they would decide to move around the board, I think they've got less idea about who's going to be available this year than in most any other year. It's just a really weird, crazy year.
It is, and I think that is going to be more of a norm, because the more technology comes, the more voices there are, the more influencers there are. You know what I mean? It's so hard to get actual information now, if that makes sense. So it feels like so many people are saying so many different things. It's hard to get a pinpoint on what's actually happening.
No, it does make sense, and and this class is probably indicative of what we're going to see going forward. Although, we still have a little bit of a COVID influence, and certainly we're just getting the very beginning of the NIL influence, just how it's going to change drafts a little bit. But, we're probably getting a little bit of it in that, you're hearing some chatter, whether it's real or not, about, players in this class who may already have a little bit of entitlement because they've maybe made some money in college already. Probably some of them have made more in college this year than they're going to make as rookies in the NFL. And so, that may turn some teams off. It might mean some players end up dropping down the boards a little bit because there's perceptions of, whether it's attitude problems or character concerns or flags, however you want to phrase it. This draft is particularly kind of interesting just because, and I think it's because there's not like a true superstar. I mean, Travis Hunter is that one player. He's the true superstar. And he might not even go number one, which I kind of just doesn't make sense to me. But then you get the fact that, Cam Ward is clearly the consensus number one quarterback. Would he have been the number one quarterback last year? Probably not. I mean, this is just a draft class that first round is just not very strong. It gets a lot better after that. And, we'll see. Maybe this is going to end up being a better group than we expect. But right now, I mean, if you ask most evaluators around the NFL, they'll tell you, first round's probably a crapshoot, but rounds 2, 3, and 4 are probably the best that they've been in a while.
Okay. So there's two people with two frames of thoughts, because you mentioned the first round seems like it's not the strongest. I've heard people throw around there's probably between 14 to 16 first round graded guys. And so there's people on two sides which are saying trade back and try to get better picks, or stay put. And I'm more on the line of staying put, because that seems like the track record of Brett Veach and history. I don't know. I can't think of a whole bunch of great deals with people trading back, if that makes sense. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a good point. And off the top of my head, I really can't point to a good example of it. There are exceptions. Like Chris Jones, I think would be a good example of the Chiefs, trading back from the first round into the early part of the second, still pretty much getting the guy I think that they wanted all along, and that working out well for them. Doesn't mean that they're always smashing successes, but yeah, and this is the thing, is that, if you're the Chiefs, what do you need? You really do kind of want quality and quantity. You're going to need more and more picks every single year, because when you're paying your quarterback what you're paying him and the stars around him what you're paying them, you need a good, strong, young nucleus every year that you're able to fill in around them. So, you're going to need a young, affordable talent. So you're going to need to hit on your draft picks, and that probably means even having more draft picks, because nobody's drafts are perfect. So, hey, the Chiefs have 8 picks this year. Now, granted, 3 of them are in the 7th round, so, take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. But, hey, if you're the Chiefs and you're able to move back and maybe get a player that you still really like early in the second and pick up additional draft capital either for this year or next year, I don't think that's a bad situation to be. The question to me is just going to be, is there someone in front of you at 31 that's worth trading up for? And increasingly it feels like that once you get past those first-round grades like you talked about, once you get past them, there's a reason why somebody's available after that point in the first round. And that's because there's going to be some question marks about them, whether it's performance-related, experience-related, character-related, you name it, injury-related. There's a reason why. The guys that are going up at the top, those top 15 players in this draft, generally because they've got it all. They've have experience, they've played well, they're healthy, all of those things.
What do you every draft there seems to be that blockbuster trade where a team just goes and takes that piece of the puzzle and ships it off for a higher draft pick. Do you see the Chiefs being in that situation this year for getting that somebody that they need but don't exactly want at that time, or if that makes any sense?
Yeah, to me, it goes back to obviously the Chiefs talking about, they need quality and quantity. So the idea of the Chiefs, being able to jump up into the top 20 and making like a grand deal, it's hard to picture that. And if for no other reason, then I just don't know if there's a player that's worth that. If you're going to do that and you're the Chiefs, you're doing it for a left tackle. Is there a left tackle in this class that's worth jumping into the top 20 to go get? I'd argue no. Josh Simmons is if you're just going by the tape and going by the skills, he's the best left tackle in this class. The injury with the patella tendon in the knee is what throws him just completely into a crapshoot. There's a risk now involved with him that you wouldn't be there otherwise. After that, even like a guy like Kelvin Banks, that's one of the higher rated offensive linemen. There's a lot of people who think he's going to be a guard in the NFL, and there's a lot of maybe really good right tackles. Armand Membu is probably after the question of, Josh Simmons and his injury. Membu might be considered the best overall tackle talent in this draft, but he's been a right tackle. You don't really have evidence that he can switch over to the left side and be just as effective, but you need right tackles too, so he's going to go pretty early. But if the Chiefs make a move, I think it's going to be fairly small. I could see them moving up into the mid-20s, but, if they ended up like somewhere between 27, that 28, 29, that kind of range, just making a small move up to make sure that they get the guy that they want, if that's what they want to do, I think that's more probable than any other trade-up scenario.
Okay, so you're saying there's no Trent McDuffie going to be waiting around at about 21 this year, is what you're saying?
It's hard to see it. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, to take Brett Veach at his word, and I think I have to. You know, the only two times he's made the trade up in the first round was for McDuffie and Worthy, and he says they had first round grades on both those players. So, and obviously, at least the results so far, especially results on Worthy, those were both good moves.
I'd say yes. And you know, so Brett Veach, he's been the GM for 8 years. The first 3 years or 4 years, first 4 years he didn't have a first round pick, and then he had 5 over the next 3 or the next 4. Yes, 5 over the next 4. So he has a what is it? He has a type, or he has a philosophy that you can kind of read into. You know, So what I want to do is I want to introduce a segment. And I told Jay I don't know how it's going to go, but the name of the segment is How Veach Be Doing. So,
I like it.
So I figured we go through the first 3 rounds and see how Veach does and see if that'll lead any credence to what he's going to do this year. I think I used those words right.
I like it. Let's do it.
All right. So
This is gonna be a train wreck.
yeah, it could be. It could be, or it could be radio gold and nothing in the middle. Well, so yeah, I have a little graph here that I kind of created. All right, so we'll do Brett Veach's. Should we start with the first round or third round? We'll start with the first round because that's how the draft goes. All right, first round draft pick since Veach got here, which is 2020. Right? I think we all know who the first round draft pick was 2020. It was
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yes. And I remember being semi-excited about it. But what I did was, so he was pick 32. And that's a year after the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That was a year after the Super Bowl. We got him round 1, pick 32. He's a running back. And I have here what actual value that I think we got from him. So
we got that good rookie year out of him.
We got an all right rookie year. But I mean over the life of his career or since he's been there. So Helaire, 2020, pick 32. He was picked in the first round. I believe he has I think he gave us a 4th or a 5th round pick value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could buy that.
All right. Would you say that's fair? So I'd say in that pick 2020, we probably should have took somebody else or traded back. So that would be evidence for trading back. 2022, we have Trent McDuffie at pick 21. And I say we have a first-round value on him.
Absolutely.
You'd say yes? All right, so yes, and he's still trending upward. Oh, yeah, we got that pick from the Tyreek trade. So another first-round draft pick on that year, pick 30, was George Karlaftis. And I believe we've got a second-round value, fringe first-round value. And he had a second-round grade for most people.
He is definitely a first round.
What do you say to that, Matt?
Yeah, I think he's definitely played to his value. I mean, there was even a point there for a while where he had more sacks than anybody in his class. And now Aiden Hutchinson got healthy and blew past him, but
yeah.
Still, I mean, no, I think he's played to his value so far.
So you say so, like, yeah, it's weird. I give him a second round. I mean, I guess I give him a 1.5 round value because he was graded coming out of college as about a second round. He was picked 30. But the Chiefs drafted him because they liked him, and they had him right there. So yeah, I say that's good, Veach. 2023, we have FAU. That's when the draft was here. And I believe there was a lot of pressure on – not pressure, but yes, pressure on the Chiefs.
Expectations.
Well, I think it was a lot of on the Chiefs to draft the hometown kid. The draft is here. It made good storylines. You know what I mean? So I think they kind of reached there. And I believe we've been getting about a 5th or a 6th round value from him. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's probably reasonable. I think an evaluation of what he's given you so far. And I mean, I don't know if there was necessarily pressure to make it a hometown kid. I think there was absolutely pressure to keep in that draft and the draft in the first round and not send everybody home disappointed that they didn't get to see a pick made that night.
Oh, that's
And
fair.
that
Yeah.
that's who I think they would have picked anyway. I mean, I think I still think and believe that if Brett Veach had his druthers, he would have liked to have traded back and still gotten Felix in the second round. And that might have changed a lot of people's feelings about Felix. If he was a second round pick instead of a first round pick, maybe it changes, Felix's mindset. Who knows? But that's the way it unfolded. Now he's a first round pick, but he hasn't lived up to that yet.
And you know what? I never thought of this. The thought of we'll send everybody home sad if we trade out of this first round pick. That would have been awful. We were there. Yeah, that would have been awful.
Yeah, that'd been rough. Yeah, last pick of the first round, and you're like, the Chiefs are trading it to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that would have been a waste of day. But so yes, 2024, we have Xavier Worthy. He was picked up 28, and I believe we got a first round, second round value out of him. So I think that's a pretty good pick. Would you say? So far,
I think so. Yes.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of 5 players, 2 have been questionable, which is Clyde and FAU. So I'm trying to think, what grade do you give Brett Veach on drafting in the first round?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I think you have to at least acknowledge a little bit that he's been drafting at the end, and therefore, he's never really been in position to get a player that he's got a true first-round grade on, except, McDuffie, in which case he traded up to go get him. Not only making the deal, with Tyreek to get the pick, but then moving up to go get the guy that he wanted. And I grade a little bit on a curve because, again, I feel like that the 2 years that he has picks that didn't work the way that the Chiefs wanted them, again, I think both those years with Clyde as well. I think if the Chiefs had their druthers, they would have traded back into the second round and probably gotten the exact same players if they could have done it. And I just wonder if that just changes everybody's mindset. Does it change fans' mindsets about what Clyde is if he's a second-round pick instead of a first-round pick? Same with Felix. Does it change the players? Did they both feel a sense of having to try to live up to that first-round pick status rather than just being who they were, which is probably second-round players? I don't know. I mean, maybe that had a psychological effect, both in just themselves and the way that they're viewed. But the 3 picks that he's hit on, I mean, they're hits.
They're hits, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if I could go any lower than a B+. I mean, I might bump it up to an A-, but I think I'd have to go no lower than a B+.
All right, no, yeah, that's about where I am, B+, A-, and what is it? And yeah, so if we were to compare him to other GMs picking late into the draft, I guess that's what gives him a higher grade because, yeah, to hit 3 out of those, the Raiders had like 5 first-round picks in 1 year, and none of them are with the team anymore. So
they were really high picks too.
Yes, they were. And what was that? Not Khalil Mack. That was the Khalil Mack trade, right? When they got rid of him.
Yeah, I guess it was when they got all the picks from the Bears. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'll give him a B+. So first round, with this, what we just went over here, it seems like the Chiefs probably should trade back because you said with Clyde, if they were to go back and do it, they probably would trade back. FAU, they would probably trade back. So, yeah, that almost answers the question of should the Chiefs go back or stay where they are, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I do feel like that if the Chiefs are at 31, and if they get a market, if they've got somebody who wants that pick, I have no problems moving out of that spot because I feel like that the Chiefs at 31, what you're going to have there is a tough decision. Do you take players that you've got highly graded at non-premium positions? So maybe it's a running back. Could be something else. Maybe it's a tight end. I mean, I don't think they're going to go interior offensive line, but we talk about premium positions for the most part. We're talking about defensive line, offensive tackle, corners. I mean, they could go any of those spots, but do you want to go another non-premium position at 31, like a running back, say, if that's the best player on your board? Do you trade back, try and get more picks? You could, if you just even traded back, say, went from 31 to 38 with the Patriots. That's 7 spots. You could easily get 2 picks for that. I mean, you could get maybe like a 4th round pick and maybe even a 6th or a 7th, either this year or next year. That could help 2 different drafts. So I think there's potential for trading back. It's not in Brett Veach's mindset to do that.
Yeah.
But I also think if he wants the ability to navigate around a little bit more, which he's got a real tendency to want to move in the 2nd round and not wait until the end of the 2nd round. If he wants to move in the 2nd round, I think he needs to probably move back in the 1st round to set that up just to get some more draft capital to make it happen.
That's true. And the next round we're going to do is 2nd round, which Brett Veach, he's actually done pretty good on. So we can go through the numbers. We have to take a break. You're good to stay on, Matt?
Absolutely. You bet.
Okay. All right. Cool beans. So yeah, 1st round, how Veach be doing? He be doing pretty good. So B plus A minus is what Matt Derrick gave him. So we're going to go into the 2nd round after word from our – we'll go into break.
Brilliant fade out, yeah.
Yes. We are back in the Pocket Sports Radio 810, and we have Matt Derrick still on the line.
He should be on the line.
I am here.
Okay, all right. Yes, we do. All right. Yes, we are back here, and now we are going to do second segment of How Veach Be Doing. I can probably come up with a better name, but hey. How Veach Be Doing second round draft picks. And some would say this is the cream of the crop here. You know, this is where Veach makes his money. So, yeah, in 2020, pick 63, Brett Veach drafted Willie Gay, which is a linebacker. So, second round, and I believe we got second round value. We got a couple Super Bowls out of him, and he got paid when he left here. So, I think that is a good pick.
Yeah, Willie did know. Yeah, Willie could walk on water in this town.
Yes.
I love me some Willie Gay.
Yes. What'd you say, Matt?
No, I think he gave you exactly that value. I don't think there's any doubt there.
Okay. All right. 2021, pick 58. The Chiefs selected Nick Bolton at linebacker. And we got second round value, sometimes a first round value. He's one of the top paid linebackers. So I think that is a good pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no doubt there. He's either lived up or exceeded the value of that pick.
Okay, all right. So 2021, we had two that year, 2 second round picks. At pick 63, we got Creed Humphrey at center, he's arguably the best center in the league. He just got paid as the top center in the league, and I gave him a first round value for sure. So yeah, it's kind of hard to disagree with there.
No, if you're doing a redraft of that year, Creed's going in the first round. I mean, it might not be early because he's still a center, but he's going in the first round.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Well, and how did he fall? Was it his size that made him fall to the second round?
I mean, I think a little bit of it was just purely value. I mean, I think I'm trying to remember. Was he the second center off the board that year after like Landon Dickerson?
Yeah, I think he was.
You know, so I mean, and once again, I mean, Landon Dickerson, you might argue is first round value too. So he's been really good. So I think it was just probably more positional value. I don't really remember anything about Creed specifically, but I don't think anybody at the same time saw that he was just going to be an all-pro right out of the box.
You said he didn't think Creed was going to be an all-pro out of the box?
I don't know if anybody thought he was going to be this good this quickly.
That's true. You know what? I remember when they picked him up, what everybody was saying was that he's so smart. And that usually scares me when the first thing you say about somebody is like not a non-physical attribute. Because, you know, George Karlaftis used to scare me because they're saying, you know, his motor doesn't stop. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to get it done. But it has. But, all right, 2022, pick 54. I think, you know, yes, we picked up Sky Moore. And I believe that he's a nice guy, but I think the value that we've got from him is a UDFA congruent. What would you say to that?
You know what? I mean, you make a solid point. I mean, there's plenty of UDFAs who aren't going to give you that, but I'd say I'd give him credit for at least being a seventh. But you're right. I mean, it hasn't been second round value, and it has been a downward slide since his rookie year.
Yes. I think he only had like two more catches than me this year, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, I may make the team next year. All right. So, 2022, we have another second-round pick. It is Brian Cook at pick 62, a safety. And I believe we've got a second, third-round value out of him. I think the injury kind of held him back a little bit. But I'd say he's right. He's frustrating sometimes. But I'd say we got the value at about second round. I think that's a good value. What would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really interested to see what happens with Brian this year because I do think that injury took a little bit of zap out of him this year. And I mean, it was a serious ankle injury. I mean, even though the Chiefs pretended like it wasn't maybe that serious and that maybe he could play in the Super Bowl, there was no chance of that. I mean, he was like in a boot until March or April. So
that's true.
It was a significant injury in that ankle. So I truly believe last year was a rehab year for him largely. So I'm interested in seeing if he can bounce back and really show you what he did in his rookie season this year.
So this was his Aaron Rodgers year.
I wouldn't go that bad.
Always say it's, you know, that first year back from a major injury like an ACL, you're never 100%, and it's always the next year back. That's why, Yeah, I think you got to be pretty optimistic, like a Charles Omenihu. But that's why I'm optimistic about Brian Cook, because I think that injury was just a lot more significant than people realized.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And you know what? I guess sometimes we get lost in the actual injuries of guys, and they're like, he's not what he was before the injury, which is a fair point probably. But all right, 2023, we have Rashee Rice at pick 55, wide receiver, and I believe we've got a first round value out of him from a second rounder. Besides the, that one discretion off the field, I'd say we hit the value.
Yeah, and the outlier to me a little bit, because if even if you go back to like Brett Veach's first draft in 18 with Breland Speaks, and 19 with McColl may be the exception there a little bit, but it was along with Rashee. But generally, Brett's second round draft picks that he trades up for are not his best picks. It's the ones that he sits and gets on, without making a move, that are his best picks. They didn't trade up to get Creed Humphrey or Nick Bolton or Willie Gay. They did trade up to get Rashee. That's the exception. But Sky Moore, Breland Speaks, McColl, they were all trade ups. And McColl, I think lived up to his value. But I know at the same time, Chiefs fans were always wishing that McColl could be more than he has been.
Well, he was brought in after Tyreek. No, Tyreek Hill was going through troubles. And it was a question, so they said, let's get McColl. So, like, you know what? I think Kansas City, the fans, I think he was never really wanted. He was like insurance, and then he wasn't needed. But he still got the pressure of, hey, we need you to produce, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he was drafted to play a role that he really never got to play by and large, because Tyreek was always in that spot.
Yeah, that's true. But, when he get his, I guess I have my McCole Hardman complaints, but yeah, I guess you got pretty good value out of him. All right, 2024 pick 63, Kingsley Suamataia, left tackle. So he was drafted in the second round. I believe we've got about a fifth or sixth round value out of him, and I think at best he can be a third round if he becomes a great guard.
Yeah, I think if he becomes, and he doesn't even have to become Joe Thuney. If he becomes a really good guard, that you maybe makes a Pro Bowl or two, something of that nature. If he just gets to that category, I think he lives up to his value. A very late second round pick, that's third round value. And once again, I feel like that if maybe he'd gone just a couple of spots later, maybe the Chiefs trade back and they get him in the third round rather than the second, maybe real expectations are a bit more realistic for him. Chiefs didn't do him any favors by, I think, thrusting him into the left tackle lineup spot so quickly.
And then snatching
him. But, hey, I think to me the jury is still out. But I think there's potential. I absolutely do. And the Chiefs do too, or they wouldn't be trying the guard experiment. They'd just be walking away, but they still think there's a quality lineman in there.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so that is the second round. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he hit 5. And I believe, I say 5. We don't know about Kingsley yet.
I'd give him a B minus.
A B man? I give him an A minus. Almost for a second round. As far as value,
if Kingsley would have developed the way that he, we expected him to, A minus, A plus.
What you think, Matt?
I think I feel like I'm kind of in the same spot on the first round grade. I'm kind of in that A minus, B plus kind of category. And hey, Kingsley winning the starting job at left guard and playing well this year would bump it up to an A minus for me.
Okay, fair enough. All right, We'll go a little bit into, we'll do a few more minutes here. So I'll do this one quicker, but this is third round. All right. Well, yeah, it's not hard. So we're good. All right, so third round. 2018, Derek Nottie, pick 75, D tackle. I believe we got the value, would you say?
I think so, absolutely.
All right. 18, we had Dorian O'Daniel, pick 100. I say the value is about a UDFA because we never saw the field. I always wanted him to, but he never did. Sutton didn't like him.
Yeah, special teams ace, but special teams aces can be undrafted free agents. That is true.
Okay, 19, pick 84, Colin Saunders, defensive tackle. I believe we got a second or third round value out of him. Got a Super Bowl out of him, and he got paid when he left here. So I think that's good value.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, 2020. Is that right? Yep, 2020. Pick 96, Lucas Niang, offensive tackle. I say we got the value of a UDFA. I remember he sat out the COVID year, and he never really turned out to be what he was supposed to be.
Yeah, the knee injury took the starch out of him, and oddly enough, a patella tendon tear, just like Josh Simmons has. So, just one of the many reasons why Josh Simmons worries me. But yeah, no, did not get the value with Lucas.
Yeah. All right, 22, we have pick 103, Leo Chenal, linebacker, and I believe so far we've got a third-round value on him.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's at times I think he even looks like second-round value. So I think you definitely got your money's worth there.
Okay, 23, pick 92, Wanye Morris, left tackle, and I give him a fifth, sixth round value. Maybe that's
probably
harsh.
fair. That's probably fair. I mean, it's certainly what we've seen to this point.
Okay, all right. So third round, I'd give Veach probably a B minus.
Hasn't been his best round. I mean, he's had a couple of nice little hits, but yeah, I think I'm probably in that category. I mean, maybe B minus, C plus kind of range for me.
All right, yeah, that averages Veach at about a B plus average. So, yeah, I think that's pretty good. That was fun to do. I'm glad you did it with us, sir.
And Jay was questioning us. How do you grade that as a radio segment?
Give it about a C.
See,
wow, what a hater.
What a hater. There it is. It comes from your own people. But yeah, like we're coming up to the 9 o'clock hour, and I said I'd get you out of here. I appreciate you coming on, man, and I'd like to have you on have you on more in the future. I appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely. It's always fun talking to you, Covell.
You too. That is Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest. And what was the podcast again?
41 is the mic.
41 is the mic. I didn't want to butcher it. I didn't have my notes in front of me. I appreciate you, sir. And we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good, friend. Take care.
All right, you too. And we will be back at the top of the hour to discuss what we just discussed, and then we're going to discuss more of what we're going to be discussing after this discussion. We'll be back after this. We are back in a pocket. Sports Radio 810 WHB. What song was that?
It was Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys. It sounded Beastie Boy-ish. But so Jay. So you gave How Veach Be Doing a C-. What would you have liked to see better?
Whew. Maybe not such an a year by year kind of thing. At least I'd have trimmed it to about the second round because nobody remembers their third, fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds.
Well, but that's what we do here, Jay. We bring what people don't remember. We bring it to their attention.
Who was Mr. Irrelevant last year?
Well, I didn't do seventh round. That would have been crazy. A boring 2-hour show of seventh rounder, Mr. Irrelevant. We could bring up Brock Purdy, but that's about it over the last few years.
There was a kicker that was Mr. Irrelevant that had a pretty good career.
I'm not worried about no kicker, Jay.
You say that in Kansas City where they revere Harrison Butker.
Well, it's because of his kicking and his views. So, what do you think the picks? Well, what do you think the Chiefs are going to do with their picks? What do you feel like are the biggest needs, sir?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about what they need, and this draft doesn't have that. I mean, yeah, they've got the position available. Do they have the person that fits what we need? And I don't see it in this draft. That's going to have to be a patchwork.
Yeah, most people don't see it in this draft.
Yeah, they're just going to have to go with what they got this year and hope something either works out or they get somebody in free agency. But I don't see the major Chiefs needs being addressed this first round. I don't.
Well, luckily the Chiefs don't have any glaring needs that need to be. So they're looking for depth and they're looking for competition at positions. So I think this is almost a perfect draft for the Chiefs because, yeah, it won't be a whole bunch of reaching.
It almost seems like they might use a few picks to address future needs. Get that person waiting in the wings kind of thing. Because we do have some guys that are up there in age, and they have some guys that are probably going to move on at the end of the year. And depth on the Chiefs has never been that great. It gets the job done, but it's not one of those, if Michael Jordan goes out, we still got Larry Bird, that kind of thing. We don't have we have producers, but we don't have sustainability in our backups, and that's kind of glaring.
Well, it's a salary cap league, so that's almost every team. But as long as you get the guys that are starters, that are going to be like difference makers, then I believe like your bench pieces. I believe the Chiefs can find a solid defensive. Yeah, it's a weird draft, and I'm no draftologist. That's for darn tootin'. But what's it here? So you don't want to go through the fourth and fifth round? I'm just playing.
Oh, by the way, Joe Flacco re-up with the Browns again.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is Flack?
I don't know. He's up there. He's older than me, I think.
He's not 48.
He's up there. He's 17th years. I 44, 45.
44, 45.
And I know you were heartbroken about the news that broke last week that we didn't get to address.
What was that?
Kadarius Toney retired from the NFL.
He did retire, but he's going to become a rapper, and I'm not following him to that profession.
Yeah, your rapper hits haven't been that great lately.
My what?
Your rapper hits.
What you mean?
You got all excited about the Will Smith.
Not excited, just when he's a legend. He is undisputable a legend. So when a legend does something, we have to, not Kanye West is a legend and he does stuff, but you don't have to give him that type of love. You know what I mean?
Kanye West was on something, but you don't. We'll talk about that.
What did they say Charlie Sheen was on? What they used to call it?
Tiger Blood.
Tiger Blood. That is what Kanye West is running on now.
By the way, Will Smith's latest record album, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
sold 242 copies.
Man,
That
get
first-
out of here. 242?
242.
Man, I'm about to look that up right now. Will Smith album sales. Man, he has 200. Man. Misses Billboard 200 spot with his comeback album based on true story due to low sales. Hold on. Will Smith true story album sales. But that's what I was talking about. You know, everybody disrespect Will Smith, though, for some reason. I don't know why.
The music industry just smacked him on stage at the Oscars.
Metaphorically speaking, yes.
So, anyway.
Will's based on the true story. His first rap album in 20 years has been a colossal sales dud. Through today, True Story has sold just 699 paid downloads. If you include streaming, the total is only 14,500. All of this includes pre-sales. Bless his heart.
Mm.
Wow, I don't.
He went from Fresh Prince to getting thrown out like Jazz.
Well, hey, but he's still rich, so you know, yeah, that you know, so he didn't need.
I hope he didn't take an advance out on that album because.
Well, but you know what, and you know, not to nerd out on it. So the producer that he had produce the album was a producer that his son uses for his like little projects and stuff. And I believe if he had a better producer, it probably would have sounded better because it sounds like Will Smith making songs in the basement, which is essentially what he did. But 699 paid downloads is still dusty any way you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Bless his heart.
Hey, you tried to make me listen to that on the air. What was wrong with you?
I guess I did, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I tried to have you listen to. Well, I didn't do a listening party. We just played part of one. That is sad. All right.
Anyway.
All right. So, who is your favorite Chiefs first round draft pick?
Oh man.
Well, in the Veach era, you have Elaire, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis.
I gotta say, Furious George.
Furious George.
Yeah. Because I mean, the guy.
Don't talk about his motor.
I'm not talking about.
Okay.
His motor. He is a machine.
He is a machine.
And the way that he and Chris Jones dominate that front four is it's harmonious. Like, I get to see it up close and personal every week, and it is still fascinating the way that those guys are able to just do what they do. One of them is going to get that quarterback. You just know it for sure. And if he doesn't get him, he's going to get close. But, you know, I love hearing, you know, quarterback sack, Karlaftis, assisted by Chris Jones, because it happens. It's just it makes for good defense, and I like it, and I can't say anything bad about it. Plus, he's got like the greatest nickname ever, Furious George. Come on now,
Well, I like the Greek Freak.
Furious George.
Furious George. I mean,
Furious George.
It's cute, I guess. You know, it's not my favorite nickname. Who was that? Andre Kirilenko. His nickname was AK-47. That's probably one of the best nicknames. And that's what we're gonna do with Darcy. We're gonna talk about best nicknames. Big Ticket. You know, remember Big Ticket? Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
You know, but it was funny when he got older. When he was with the Nets, they started calling him Kevin Garnett. They were like,
you don't get no nickname because you suck now.
Yeah, he didn't suck. He just played like a guy named Kevin Garnett, not the Big Ticket.
So, anyway. You look confused over there.
No, I got a lot happening over here. All right, your favorite second round draft pick. Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, Sky Moore, Brian Cook, Rasheed Rice.
I gotta go with Creed.
Creed?
Creed.
You're a Creed guy?
I mean, I don't like the band, but I like the guy. I mean, you know, he was productive. You know, he was reliable. You know, not putting anything, you know, on the other guys. It's just that, you know, Creed kind of, you know, he was a workhorse. So.
Yeah. Okay. How much time do we have till next break, Jay? I'll ask you that.
We got about 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. So we're going to do the unnecessary. Who's your favorite third rounders from Veach? We have Derek Nottie, Dorian O'Daniel, Colin Saunders, Lucas Niang, Leo Chanel, Wanye Morris.
My emotional favorite pick is Derek Nottie. Just because he was a Florida State guy, and he did he did a lot of stuff for the community as far as like the dog adoptions go. I own one Chiefs jersey, and it's autographed by him. So, but the thing he did with the dog adoption centers was kind of like it tugs at your heartstrings, and that's.
What did he do with the dogs?
After the Chiefs won their second Super Bowl, he went down to like a local animal shelter and just plopped down a bag of money, and all the adoptions are on me. So,
okay,
yeah.
that is pretty neat.
So people got a free dog courtesy of Derek Nottie.
Well, that I don't know if that's better for the dogs. Sometimes somebody got to break some bread to actually want to take care of something. You get a free dog.
Imagine taking Mrs. Hudson down to the animal shelter because you want a dog, or like me, Mrs. Powers took him down to the animal shelter.
Well, but I love dogs, and I'm gonna take care.
Dogs too.
But there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, free dog, yeah, let me take."
They didn't know the adoption had been covered until they picked one and was like, "Okay, I want this one." Okay, it's already been taken care of.
They should have said, "Take the money out your pocket."
No.
All right, don't worry about it. That's
but
what they.
No, they once they adopted the dog, they were like, "There's no fee; it's been covered." And, that's wow. Who did Derek Nottie from the Chiefs? Oh, this is my Chiefs dog. I'm going to name him Tackle or something like that,
Well, that would be an awful
because people do name their dogs pretty weird stuff, and I'm pointing at me right now because
what's your dog's name?
Waffles.
Yeah, it's a weird name. Yeah.
Well, she's rock stupid. So
what kind of dog you got?
It's kind of like it's a mutt basically, but we think it's a black-mouthed cur. She black-mouthed cur or German Shepherd because she's got big old floppy ears and she's got that big black nose. But she's got the mental processing speed
of a Great Dane,
of a rock on the bottom of the ocean. She kind of dumb.
So she don't know any tricks.
Oh, she knows tricks. She knows that when mom comes home, if she sits down, she'll get a treat, and if she doesn't sit down, she gets yelled at. She, because she, when I come home, my dog's like, "Yo, what's up?" She's happy to see me. She does that tail wag, whatever. My wife comes home, that dog goes ballistic. She does not listen to anything. My wife has to start pulling food out of her pocket for this dog to understand. Oh, I got to behave now, or I can get that sandwich. That kind of. My dog is, by all intents and purposes, a dog.
Really?
Yeah. She's not too smart. She's kind of dumb.
Well, hey, but as long as she's loyal.
Yeah.
As long as she's loyal.
I wouldn't say she's loyal, because she'll go home with anybody. Like the guy that came to, we upgraded our internet. We switched over to, from one company to another because I'm not about to say product placement on the air. But we went from one to another. And when the guy came out to, to hook up everything, my dog, who has seen other human beings before, sat on the couch like she had never, ever had human interaction. I got a picture of her. Dude's on the floor working, and my dog is just gazing at him, just like, "Oh, you're so handsome." And he looked at her, and she got so happy. The ears went back, and the tail started. She is not loyal.
Well,
she is not loyal.
Well, as long as she can act loyal, but
I wouldn't even give her that.
But I love dogs. I'm a dog guy.
Yeah, and Derek Nottie basically, every now and then he'd go down to a animal shelter. He didn't keep going to the same one, but he would just go down there and say, "All the adoptions are on me today," and just walk out. And people would get their dogs, that their new family member, and find out that it was taken care of, and then they get back home and realize Derek Nottie paid for their dog. So I mean, that kind of stuff endears you to a person. It isn't always about on-field, performance. Even though he was pretty good at what he did, and I'm kind of bummed to see him go. But
yeah. Well, all right. Well, that was your how Veach be doing. But we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Michael Darcy on.
Hopefully he's wearing pants this time.
What do you mean? He didn't wear pants last time?
No.
How do you know?
You can tell.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, Darcy, we'll see what's up with Darcy after this. We're back with Sports Radio 810 WHB, and we have on the line Michael Darcy from Kansas City Sports Report on YouTube. Are you there, sir?
I am, Covell. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting a little bit of a pressure headache because of my allergies and all this rain and different weather and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, not too bad. How about yourself?
It's that time of the year, man. Have the Royals even started playing yet? I know they were in a rain delay, and it wasn't raining, then it started pouring, and I had no idea what's going on.
They were in a delay. I don't know if they're back playing yet.
Well, we don't want to talk about them anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. Have you been on the draft grind, sir?
Yes, I have, and it's very interesting because every single year I try to dive into the prospects that I think the Chiefs are actually looking at maybe drafting. And it's so difficult because there's so many players the Chiefs can draft, and the draft always goes in so many different directions, and you never know if one player goes in this spot and it completely changes the trajectory of what player the Chiefs could end up drafting. I'm sure that you've seen the rumors that the Chiefs could potentially trade up. I mean, around this time of year, I'm not sure what to believe with all the smoke screens that this front office does.
Yes, but not just this front office. Everybody's front office, everybody's back office, everybody's basement office. It's so much stuff coming out right now.
I want to say I don't think we give Brett Veach enough credit for not having one of his kids take his draft picks, like the Jets.
Well,
I think it'd be funnier if his kids did make the pick and then it ended up being Trent McDuffie. It's like, man, the kid predicted correctly.
Yeah, it's like that. What was it? Was it the Jets?
Yeah, it was the
GM's
Jets.
son?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. His son was telling him, pick this guy because he's got a higher Madden rating.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
No. Well, okay, no. Well, I'm talking about like draft wise.
Oh, I don't know. Who
What team was
Oh,
it?
I can't remember the player. It was.
I know it was
don't know.
Jaden Daniels. It was Jaden Daniels, but the team picked somebody else. He said if you want a quarterback, you need to take him or something like that, and he didn't. And yeah,
The Jets will be the Jets.
The Jets will be the Jets. But yeah, man. So yeah, the Chiefs have pick 32.
31.
You know,
32 goes to the Super Bowl champions.
okay, yeah, that's right. The Chiefs have pick.
Covell, you just brought up bad memories. Very bad memories.
No,
Way to go, Covell.
No, Jay
The
did that one.
flashbacks are
I
coming
didn't
back
do
to
that.
me.
That was you. That was all you. We're gonna F8 that.
You could have let it ride. But yeah, so we picked up so we have pick 31. And there's people on both sides of the decision saying, "Hey, you should trade back or you should pick where you're at or try to trade forward." What are you thinking? Where are you leaning toward the Chiefs doing?
It's so difficult because usually Brett Veach has shown that he'll trade up. The Chiefs don't really trade back. Like, they traded up to go get Trent McDuffie in the first round a couple of years ago. They've traded up in the second and third round to go get their guy. So the team's MO is to trade up and be aggressive. So I don't think that they would trade back. And I think that the 1 year that they ended up not trading back was when they took Felix, but they wanted to get out of the first round. So I feel like teams aren't really trying to trade with the Chiefs. Best case scenario might be where a quarterback is lingering towards the end of the first round. Like if Jackson Dart is available at pick, 28, then you might see a team trade with the Chiefs to get back into the first round. So Dart has that fifth-year option, if he does end up panning out at the NFL level. But I do think that the Chiefs will probably stay put at 31. And if they do make any move, they'll probably trade up. And it might be for a left tackle. I mean, I don't know what they're deciding to do.
There's not a guy, though.
They like Josh Simmons, I guess. And I'm not trying to throw shade towards him because maybe he will end up being, a really solid player. He tore his patellar tendon in college. That's not something that a 300-pound lineman just recovers from. It's increasingly more difficult to do so. And also, if the Chiefs go left tackle at the end of the first round, that's someone that unless he is just magnificent, he's not going to play year one. And do you want to draft someone that's not even going to play year one?
Well, the Chiefs have done that a few times.
Yeah, to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, it's worked out, but wouldn't it have been great if Felix was a better player? Wouldn't it be great if, you didn't have to trade for the Joshua Uches or go out and sign, to bring back Omenahu? If you were confident you had a good edge rusher, we're talking about them potentially drafting an edge rusher in the first round of this year's draft. So clearly, they missed on that, and they're still trying to address the need.
Well, so I mean, yeah. What was I? I mean, everybody's not gonna. It's a crapshoot, and like it's a numbers game. So you just want to get a little bit better. You know what I mean? If that
Yeah.
makes sense. So like, I think even if Felix was, I guess if Felix was a dog, we wouldn't need a Josh Uche. We still need depth though. I would say. And so yeah, I had Matt Derrick on earlier, and we were going through the first round picks, and like we almost got the answer to what Veach should do, whether that is stay put or trade back. Because 2020 we drafted Clyde, pick 32, probably would have traded back for that one. Trent McDuffie, good. George Karlaftis, good. FAU, pick 31. They probably would have, liked to trade back for that one. So, like in the, what is it? Yeah, in these 5 years here, history would show that you should probably trade back because you're going to be kind of disappointed. Because I believe they had a, they had a first round grade on Clyde, but he was there, so they took him. and the same with FAU. So yeah, with that context, what would you say that they should do?
Well, I think they said they have 13 first-round grades on players in the first round, and I feel like the Chiefs should take best player available at, pick 31. If they do anything, I'd probably rather – it really depends on who's on the board, because I would much rather the Chiefs trade up for a defensive tackle like a Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle from Oregon, or Walter Nolan, another defensive tackle from Ole Miss. There's really good – high-end talent at that position that could be available in the mid-20s, and that would make sense for the Chiefs to trade up. I kind of worry that they might trade up to pick 24, which I believe the Minnesota Vikings have. I saw that rumor put out by The Athletic that the Chiefs and the Vikings have talked about maybe trading those picks, but I think if you're trading up, it's probably for an offensive tackle, and I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but, where do you fall on that?
Well, yeah, from everybody's grades, there's not really a guy that is trade uppable or should trade uppable besides Josh Simmons, but the injury, that knee injury, is a pretty tough one. So yeah, like I'm usually on the don't trade back, stay where you're at, see what you can do. But yeah, I don't see who the left tackle would be. I think there's one stud. And other than that, yeah, it's not a real heavy. So it's an odd draft, but a good draft for the Chiefs, because the Chiefs don't need anybody that necessarily has to come in and play right away, but they need his depth. So this draft is supposed to be heavy on between like 2nd and a half to 5th round, if that makes sense.
I feel like the Chiefs need to find – okay, they either need to find the left tackle of the future, even if it means he doesn't play this year, at the end of the first round, or they need to take an impact player. Like, you either – if you draft the left tackle in the first round, he better be your long-term answer. You know what I mean? Especially because, like, that's a resource that you can't just spend willy-nilly, because when they don't hit, it does hurt. And guess what? If you spend a first-round pick on a guy, like, I hate to use Felix as the constant example, but, like, the Chiefs are still in the market for an edge rusher. The Chiefs, like, that didn't solve any of their issues, and the Chiefs don't want to waste a first-round pick on someone that isn't going to be good for their investment.
Well, to be fair, the Chiefs drafted Clyde in 2020, and we're the most winningest team over the last 5 years. The Chiefs drafted Felix, and the Chiefs have been to 2 straight Super Bowls. So
yeah, but not because of him.
Well, not because of him, but it's not like they drafted, they didn't have Chris Jones, or they didn't have, what's his nickname? Jay, you love his nickname? Furious
George Karlaftis.
Yes, Furious George. Like, if they didn't have George, they didn't have Chris Jones, then we would have needed FAU a little bit more, and then that could have hurt us. But they drafted him as hey, if he blows up and he's great, that's going to help us out. But if he's not, we still have depth, and we still have a few moves in us, if that makes sense.
I feel like the Chiefs, because, obviously, yeah, they've had a lot of success, but who knows if the Chiefs would have had a different player if we would have seen a different outcome, and obviously that's a game that we can't play. But I don't think the Chiefs should make it a habit of whiffing in the first round. And to Brett Veach's credit, he hasn't for the most part. Like, Xavier Worthy, he's going to be a stud. Like, that was a really good first-round pick. You want to go back to George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie, they're in the same draft class. That was the same round. So it's like they've had success in the first round. You just got to continue to have it's crazy that the talent disparity is an all-pro cornerback in Trent McDuffie and then a guy in Felix who barely touches the field. Like, we've seen the very best and, like, not great drafting.
Yeah. Well, but, like, yeah, like, if you was to grade, we graded Veach, and he grades that at about B+. So for picking late every year and then every round picking late, I think we've got pretty good bang for our buck for the most part.
Oh, yeah. His late round drafting is incredible. I really don't like, and I think, listen, it all ends up being okay because Brett Veach drafts Brett Veach drafts someone in, I'm trying to think of that 2020, not Karlaftis. Felix was 23, right? If I'm correct.
Felix, he was 31.
No, but in that 2023 draft, because it was in Kansas City. So
Yeah,
who
23.
else did they draft in that class? Because I feel like Brett Veach will draft a player maybe in a spot that he shouldn't, or, like maybe he misses on a first-round pick or a second-round pick, but he ends up hitting later on in the draft. Like, I know that, we didn't really have a lot of success with Sky Moore, but later on in the draft, he found a gem.
Darcy, I got a question for you.
Hold on.
You shoot.
Hold on. The draft with Felix, it was Felix round 1, Rashee Rice 2nd round, Wanye Morris 3rd round, Shamari Connor 4th round, B.J. Thompson 5th, Keandre Coburn 6th, Nick Jones 7th. So the only one that really hit was Rashee Rice.
That's about it.
Ew, that was kind of negative.
That was a stinky draft right there. That was not good.
Spelling it out didn't sound fun at all.
All right. Darcy, it's cage match time. Who do you take? Do you take draft day Brett Veach, or do you take trade deadline Brett Veach?
Oh, it has to be draft day Brett Veach. Trade deadline Brett Veach is maybe like one. Like, what has he done at the deadline where you're like, oh my goodness?
Kadarius Toney, longest punt return in Super Bowl history.
You know what? I mean, you make a good point. Where's Kadarius Toney now?
He's a rapper
At the house.
at the Crib University.
He is retired. I just saw that.
Well, he's retired from one profession and he moved to the other one.
Where he will shortly
Maybe
be
he's
retired
more
from that
gifted
too.
at the second one.
I don't know. I've heard some of his stuff.
How can he
Maybe.
DJ? He ain't got no hands.
Oh boy.
I went there. What's up? What's up?
Kadarius Toney will never get a break on this show.
Never.
What were we talking about? Do y'all remember?
The NFL draft.
NFL.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's vague. But all right, so yeah, so you personally, you said you think they should move forward and try to get a dude.
Personally, I feel like that's the better of the two alternatives. Like, if you're going to trade up or trade back, but at the same time, like I'm okay with just sitting there at 31 and seeing like who's the best available player. Because what my dream is, and I'm not an MU guy, but I really do like Luther Burden, and if he's there at 31, like he's the pick. He's Deebo Samuel. Like if you could get him, I don't care the Chiefs wide receiver core is going to be good. You go get Luther Burden. Like, I think they should be in that position to just take the best player available.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we did better hope that that scouting team is on their job.
Well, hopefully, that's what this is their Super Bowl, and it kind of has to be when you lose the kind of Super Bowl that we just did.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, so the Brett Veach has been making his money in the second round. Do you have a favorite second round pick by Brett Veach? And I can go down the list here.
Just based on like who I'm thinking of, it would kind of have to be Rashee Rice, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Like, what are some other obviously Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, talk about a trash can with hands. I'm trying to think of.
That's why you're my buddy, Darcy.
Oh, Creed Humphrey's better. Creed Humphrey's all pro. You have to pick him.
Yeah, so here's Veach's second round picks. You have Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, Sky Moore, Brian Cook, Rashee Rice, Kingsley Suamataia.
It's Creed Humphrey followed by Rashee Rice and then Nick Bolton. He's been pretty solid in the second round. I think the issue is when he misses in the second round. He misses in the second round.
Well, yeah, who was it? Sky Moore, Kingsley. Well, he only missed. Like, I gave Sky Moore the value of a UDFA. So that's a big miss. But Kingsley still has a chance of being this team's left guard. So that would make him about a third round value for, I think that's at best.
Covell, did you know that you had the exact same stat line as Sky Moore did last season, and you did not play a single game?
No, I thought he had 2 catches last year.
He had no catches for no yards.
Oh, I thought he had 2. I gave him too much credit.
He might have been targeted twice. He definitely didn't catch him.
Well, so let me ask you this: what do you think it is? What do you think it is with Sky
Are you
Moore?
asking me why he's not a good football player?
Yes, essentially yes.
I think the Chiefs have a propensity to take guys from schools that they like. If you look at all the Eastern Michigan players on this Chiefs team, Mike Caliendo, Sky Moore, there's one more that I can't remember. The Chiefs love – wait, is it Eastern Michigan or Western? One of the Michigans. Not the Michigan, one of the side Michigans. And for whatever reason, like I just don't think his game translated very well to the next level. He can't really get separation. His hands aren't very good. His route running is just – I mean, it kind of leaves a lot to be desired. I feel like Sky Moore is one of those outside guys this year that, like, would anybody really be upset if he didn't make the team?
Besides him?
Well, besides him and family. I mean, I guess no. I think he was on borrowed time when he made it this year.
Well, the only reason that he did make it this year is because he was a second-round pick in 22.
Yeah, that's true. But, like, it seemed like he should have been better.
If Sky Moore was a seventh-round draft pick, he would probably be in the USFL. Maybe. If he's good enough for that. I don't even know.
You said if he was a 7th?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at Cornell Powell. Cornell Powell was a 4th or a 5th-rounder. Man, that was a long time ago. I was a huge Cornell Powell fan, and he just caught a touchdown, I believe, in the USFL. So, yeah, he's on to, I don't want to say bigger and better things, but he's off to playing football somewhere.
He's off to other
Canadian
things.
arena football.
He's off to other
Where
ventures.
champions are made.
And, what am I about to say? And I actually have more faith in Cornell Powell his whole time here than I have Sky Moore.
Well, I feel like it's hard to hate on Cornell Powell when the expectations weren't high. He was kind of a flyer that the Chiefs just took in the 5th round. I can't remember if it was 4th or 5th round, but his route running in college, I think he actually played with Justin Ross. We talk about Justin Ross every single offseason. That would be a great discussion for another show. Who's had the better career, Sky Moore or Justin Ross?
Justin Ross, I think, because he had injuries and he had to overcome to even be a part of a team. I think he got a ring.
It might be Sky Moore just because he caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I could have caught that ball, but he did catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
And McCall caught a Super Bowl, too, and that don't make him,
Kadarius Toney did, too, and he still had to retire because he's not good.
Hey, leave Kadarius out of this.
No.
Before the rapper comes up here.
No.
Hey, Darcy, we got to take a break. You going to hang out or you got to go?
I got one more segment in me.
All right, bet. All right. Well, we're taking a break here. We'll be back after this. We are back at Sports Radio 810 WHB. You are in the pocket. I had to let that beginning of the song start. It's a classic.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's a
I know
classic.
the code.
Yeah. It's like the coolest beginning of a song. Like not coolest, but yeah. Darcy, you there?
I am indeed, my friend.
All right. So, like I said, yeah, day before the draft, I think everything drafty has been talked about. Do you have anything that hasn't been talked about, or a unique or fresh or another angle to hit this draft?
I mean, you kind of said it. I feel like the NFL draft, or at least the lead up to the draft, it's entertaining, but at the same time, people always, say, oh, this player's a shoo-in to go here. And then you see what happened to Michael Penix last year, and then it throws everybody's mock draft, completely out the window. It's like when someone says they've got, perfect bracket one day through March Madness, and then the very next day, the first game, the team gets upset. So it's like, it's hard to be like, oh, this is for sure going to happen, especially when it comes to, picks outside the top 20. Yeah, the top 5 is one thing. Like, you basically had the Titans come out and say, we're going to draft Cam Ward. But with the Chiefs, it's a little bit different because, 30 other teams are going to pick before them. So many things can happen. And at a certain point, the Chiefs have been so dominant and so successful that there might be a team that if they believe the Chiefs are all in on a left tackle, they might say, you know what? We don't want you guys to get that left tackle. We're going to take him in front of you. And the perfect example of that would be the Houston Texans. They just traded Laramie Tunsil, over to the Washington Commanders. And, I guess they signed Cam Robinson. But, if you can get Josh Simmons in the draft, they're going to do that. So I feel like the Chiefs can't make their plans too well known. But at the same time, like until, the pick is in tomorrow, I have no idea what direction the Chiefs might go in. I feel like tackle was probably the safest bet. That's what all of the mock draft analysts are saying. But you never know. I mean, Brett Veach might shock everybody.
Yeah, I'm hoping. But I guess, when your team is good and when you don't need players immediately, it's kind of hard to be excited about the first few rounds, I guess.
Well, I will say day 3 of the draft, I think, is the hardest to watch because, you can understand the prospects in the top 3 rounds. Like, that's the top 100 pick. But once you get to, the 240s, the 250s, it's like, I mean, they could draft you, and I'd be like, well, maybe he could fit into the system somewhere. Like, I don't know the player that. I mean, I haven't dived that far into the draft. I know, really the first 4 or 5 rounds, like I can pick out a solid player for the Chiefs just about in every round. But once you start getting to the 6th and the 7th, I mean, those players themselves are guys that might not even make the roster. The Chiefs have had multiple guys drafted in the 7th round that just have not made the team.
Yeah, Cordell Powell was one of those guys.
But, yeah, I think you would fit very well on the Chiefs bench because you'd be there a lot.
No, I'd be on the bench a lot. I'd keep it warm.
It's already
warm.
warm.
What position would you play?
Left
back.
back.
I mean, I guess Waterboy probably.
Left back.
No, what position
left
would I play?
back.
I'd play probably
left
eighth,
back.
I'd play eighth string running back. I could do that.
No, you'd be left back.
Whatever. Hey,
would you be able to?
You know what position Jay would play?
Better or worse than a tackling dummy?
Oh, I'd be better. But you know what position Jay's gonna play?
What's that?
Butt back. So when the coach says, "Coach, you want to put me in?" But boy, get your butt back. Well, hey, y'all could have gave me something. That wasn't awful.
No, that was terrible.
No, it was better than
just
yours.
like the Chiefs' offensive line in the Super Bowl, man, it just wasn't great.
It wasn't great. That's fair. All right. So yeah.
My buddy Steve's listening to us on he's streaming us.
What did he say?
He said don't quit your day job.
Hold up, about what?
About your joke.
About my joke. Yeah. Hey, man, I do this, all right? I got a show May 23rd. Anybody can see it. I do this. All right, so, and your friend, I don't like him. But, Darcy.
Well, I know you don't like him because, one, he's from Philly, and he's an Eagles fan.
I don't have a problem with Eagles fans.
So.
If he likes you, I got a problem with him. But
he ain't one of those, like...
That's something.
I got cool friends.
You got cool friends?
Yeah.
People with cool friends don't say that. But all right. So Darcy, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so
Darcy's one of my cool friends.
all right, to take a
That
break.
probably brings you down a little bit. I'm sorry to say.
What was I about to say? All right, to pivot from draft talk a little bit. Me and Jay were talking for a little bit. We got a few minutes here. What is your best sports nickname?
My best sports nickname? Like, could you elaborate on that? What does that mean?
Best player nickname. Like LeBron, you have King James. Marvin Havler, the boxers, he was marvelous.
I never told you my all-time favorite, but because Darcy's the guest, I'm gonna let him go first.
Yeah.
Oh,
Charles
man. Are we going local here, or are we going...
I'd say any sport.
Anywhere, even overseas sports.
That's very...
Yeah, I don't know any overseas ones.
I was thinking, like, locally. I mean, dude, LeBrons are pretty cool. Like, the chosen one, yeah. I mean, LeBrons are pretty cool. I would say the first thing that came to my mind was Walter Payton Sweetness. I don't know if that's, like, the coolest nickname, but, I mean, it kind of popped out. Locally, like, the kid from Kansas, the running back that I would love if the Chiefs took in the draft, his name is Devin Neal, but they call him Real Deal Devin Neal.
I mean, I'd give it a C.
Yeah, I mean, there could be better, but...
I just threw this on you. I understand that. So, yeah.
I mean, it has to be LeBron, right?
Well, King James, that's cool. But you remember in the NBA a few years, about 10 years ago.
But you got to think other people, other grown men call him King James.
It's definitely that's definitely a flex for sure. Because if he wasn't good, nobody. Prince James.
Prince James.
But what was his name? Yeah, Andre Kirilenko. He used to play for the Jazz. His nickname was AK-47. I thought that was probably one of the best nicknames you could have.
All right, Darcy, did you make your pick yet?
Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to say King James, sadly.
Boo.
That's a really good question, though.
Well, we will rehash it. And next time you're
give me like at least a week to think about it and dive into it, and I could probably give you a better answer.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so
wait, we got to go with mine.
Oh yeah, which is yours?
All right, we're going to the NHL on this one. Got to go to hockey.
Yeah, we are.
Number 66.
Already lost you.
Number 66 from the Pittsburgh Penguins. His name literally translates from French to English as the best. He is Super Mario Le Magnifique Mario Lemieux.
What is the nickname?
Le Magnifique.
Le Magnifique. I mean, I'll give I'll give that one a B+.
Why don't you spend some time, like 5 minutes, whenever you get home, get on Google and in YouTube Mario Lemieux.
I know who Mario Lemieux is, but
Lemieux? You can't even say his name right.
Well, I know who I know who he is, but the nickname, it's a mid nickname.
Mid nickname?
It's too much work.
Because you can't speak French?
Well, yeah, a little bit.
All right, then go with Super Mario. Go with that.
Yeah, I guess
go with that
because
that's right around your demographic. Video game.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Hey, so Darcy, we're on fumes here. What you got these last 3 minutes?
Oh man,
I'm passing.
I feel like the Chiefs need to have a really good draft so that the fan base buys in. Because right now morale is low. There is not a lot of. I don't want to say there's not a lot of optimism, but I think that the buzz around the team is kind of gone. And so I think that hopefully the draft is super good and they find a bunch of players that fans are excited about because, I see it on my show. Like, there just isn't the same fire right now. Part of it's just it's the off season, but losing the Super Bowl the way they did definitely hasn't helped people want to tune in and stay around. So I hope the Chiefs are having a really good draft to kind of win this fan base back.
Well, I don't think the fan base is gone. I think it was Chiefs fatigue, winning fatigue, and then we lose and all that up in once. I think everybody just needed a little break.
Yeah, they did. And listen, it's much easier to take a break when your team loses like that.
For sure. Yes, it is. Makes it ridiculously easy to take a break. So
so I get that.
Yeah, so yeah, tell people about your channel and where to find you and stuff, sir.
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. The channel is at KC Sports Report. I do a daily show where we talk about, all things Kansas City Chiefs. Recently done a lot of draft stuff. We've gone through the mock draft simulators, gone over some potential options for the Chiefs to take. Obviously, we've talked about running back. We've talked about offensive tackle and so much more. And we're getting to the YouTube Shorts game. So you guys can definitely check me out there. And hope to have Covell on the show here pretty soon.
Yes, there was a text message that I didn't see from you. We were supposed to do it a few weeks ago. So I owe you a few. Let me know whenever, sir.
Sounds fantastic.
All right, we will be in touch. And that was Michael Darcy. This is In the Pocket Sports Radio 810 with Covell Hudson. And follow me, Covell Hudson, on Twitter or X. And
It'll always be Twitter to me.
Yeah, it still feels like Twitter. And
I didn't even update the app, so it's still got the Twitter app. So
Elon gonna get you. But yeah, Covell Hudson Comedy at YouTube, and I think we're done here. Thank you, sir, for coming.
He's already gone.
Oh, he's already there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay, for coming.
Well,
and,
if it wasn't me, then you'd have to run all this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But next week we will discuss who the Chiefs pick and if we're moving closer or farther away from a Super Bowl win.
That's going to be a pretty good. We're going to find out if all that smack we talked was
fresh news, fresh content is what I'm looking forward to. So yes, that'll be a good time.
Yep. So
we are signing out, Kansas City. Yep, that's it. We're out of here.
Come on.
Well, no, that's. I think I got everything. If I say anything else, it's just gonna be too much. So check out my boy Michael Darcy. Check out my boy Matt Derrick. Check me out on YouTube, Covell Hudson Comedy.
And if you missed any part of the show, it's on your favorite podcasting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's you can Google In the Pocket Covell Hudson. Put the date in. Seems like it'd be the easiest way. But I'm like an old guy. You can go to sportsradio810.com. No, 810WHB.com.
Yeah.
And you can find us there in podcasts. Is that good enough for you, Jay?
That's good.
Okay, we're out of here then, for sure.